So today I recorded this noise sample using analog from Ableton. And literally everything apart from kick and bass, because I was lazy to do it with noise, was done using this sample. Check this out. Pretty cool. Let's see what we have here, each element one by one. So the first one is basically the sample with a trance gate, and it sounds like this. This rack I've made is made of this amazing plugin from Kilohertz. It is free. I also made a video about my favorite free plugins. You can check it out somewhere there. And it's just amazing. You can just use the preset and you get instant trance. Then I added some Valhalla, Supermassive, also free. And again, Kilohertz flanger to give it a bit more space. Twice actually, give it even more space. And then I have this other free plugin from Xfer Record that basically is a DJ filter, like the one you have on Pioneer Mixer, for instance. And it's a two-directional one. I automated the low pass, the high pass, sorry, frequency, so it goes like ready for the drop. Then we have a riser. This is quite easy to do with noise, probably you already know. But then if you do the opposite, so you take the sample and you add the opposite envelope, you get this kind of hit that helps making the drop land really hard. And this one is basically a, again, Kilohertz free plugin, transient shaper to give it a bit more attack. DJ filter, I don't know why it's here, I didn't use it. And then an EQ8 to remove the low end. Then at the beginning you could hear this kind of random gnarly sound. And it's basically the noise sample with an EQ that I made it a very narrow band pass using 3 frequencies. And then I mapped all of these the frequencies of these 3 bands. I mapped them to a random LFO, and so it keeps going over and over. Then we have the contact mic. You might wonder, what the hell is this thing? Basically, this is a contact microphone. You can get it on Amazon for €5. It's horrible, it's cheap, but it does its job. And basically, if you know I'm going, I have a track where I get the signal from it, right? You see whenever I touch it, that bar go down, but I put it in sense only, so we don't hear it. If you want to hear it, you go and put it in main, unsolo everything, and then you hear these horrible sounds from the contact mic. But let's put back sense only. If you put an envelope follower onto it, then you can see that this thing can be used quite nicely and it's very percussive, right? So basically what I did, took our beloved noise sample, made again a very narrow band pass, added some distortion and mapped each frequency, each band's frequency to the envelope. So whenever this guy is playing, I can touch it and that band pass will move forward according to the envelope. So this is it for the intro. Then there's the kick and bass, let's say, but they just regular kind of melodic techno-ish pattern. And then in the drop or in the verse, we have this calm filter here. And this is a fun one. I removed the low end, added some chorus, some distortion. And again, the trance filter and this beat repeat preset from Ableton stock plugins, and without it sounds like this. So you see with a lot of attack, the trance goes like, and then this insect plugin makes it kind of, very interesting sound, right? And then at the end, I automated this pitch decay knob to land into the breakdown. Then we have chords with noise. Yes, easy. You just have to have three very resonant bends and try to remove everything in between. And I tuned this by ear, but to fit the key of the track. But you can also look up the frequencies of the chord that you want to make, and this will sound like a very noisy, dreamy pads. And I just added an LFO tool and some reverb, and that's it, and it sounds pretty cool. Then we have the drums in this section, right? Nice hi-hat, both close and open, just noise. I used a sampler here. I took a very short region for the closed hat, and then I cut everything below 5,000. Again, the free transient shaper from Kilohertz, some tape saturation, and it's actually a pretty decent closed hat. And then I, of course, randomized a bit the velocities in the clip to make it sound a bit better. Same story, but different flavor with the open hat. So here the sample is basically longer. I added a bit more of low frequency, but yeah, transient shaper again and saturation, and it sounds like this. Together. Not bad. Then the snare is coming, and the snare is basically a chop of that famous by now audio noise sample. And what I did here, I added a fundamental, also tuned by ear, and then some noise. When you synthesize a snare, is basically a fundamental tone plus some noise, and I tuned the decay of the snare by hand in the audio itself, and then added transient shaper, quite some attack, removed some sustain, added some pump until I liked it, and some room verb, and it sounds like this. Together with the hats. Just noise. Nice. And this is also a funny one. It's basically a synth. But as you can see, is again just our sample. How did I make it sound like a synth? Because here are MIDI notes, right? I can play this guy with my keyboard. Because the sampler has a very cool feature, which is a small key here. And if you put again a resonant bandpass filter at 261 Hertz, which is at the frequency of C3, you then can enable 100% key tracking, and whatever MIDI note you play, this will automatically track it. So convert it from MIDI from 0 to 127 to the frequency spectrum and hit exactly at the correct frequency. So you got something like this. Then I added just some delay. And here's during the breakdown, we have a build up here, which is done building upon the closed hat, I think. But then what I did is automate reverb and delay in addition to the pitch envelope, right? So pitch oscillator here, you see this amount as it plays is changing. And it's making the sound more. And then there's a big snare here. just to introduce the drop, and it's done similarly to the snares that I showed you before, but it's just a bit darker, louder, and longer. And then I arranged a bit of a verse, a bit more empty and groovy with the snare. I really love this snare, it's so cool, go and save it. So that's it. If you like this video about noise and you find it nice, then like and subscribe. Check out some of my links below. Check out my Patreon page and stay noisy.